Hey guys, today we're checking out this AMD Ryzen 5 mini PC with 8GB of RAM and AMD Vega Radeon graphics, as well as 256GB of storage. This is a pre-production unit, meaning that the final product might be slightly different. This unit, for example, has a SATA M.2 SSD, whereas the final unit will have a faster NVMe PCI Express M.2 SSD. The mini PC is available through an Indiegogo website. You're looking at a price of $429 US. It will ship in October of 2020, and later this unit will be made available on Amazon, but for a higher price. In the box included are DisplayPort and HDMI cables. There's a VESA mount with screws, so you can attach the mini PC on the back of a monitor. There's a little bag with screws that lets you install a 2.5-inch hard drive or SSD. We're getting a 65-watt power supply and an American power plug, but I just used one from Australia. The unit is roughly 13 by 13 centimeters in dimension, and in terms of height, around 5 centimeters. At the front we have a built-in microphone. We've got a USB Type-C. This one is USB 3.1 Gen 2 and also carries a display signal 4K 60 Hz. We have two USB 3.1 Gen 2 ports, an audio port, a power button which has an LED, and here is a little reset button to reset your unit. Kensington lock goes here. We've got two more USB 3.1 Gen 2 ports, HDMI 2.0 as well as DisplayPort. Both of these carry 4K 60 Hz. We have 2 gigabit Ethernet ports. These are driven by a chip from Realtek, so that means you can use this for a router or something like that. And here goes the power supply. The machine is really easy to open. You just push down here and then you can pull up the cover, and let's have a look at some of the upgrade options. Here we can see 2 RAM slots. We have one 8GB module installed, so you can easily upgrade it to 16. So this means this machine will run in single channel memory configuration, which is a bit of an issue. I would have preferred if they had used 2 4GB modules, especially for the graphics. This will actually have quite an impact. Underneath this cooler, we've got a 256GB SATA M.2 SSD, but the final version will have a faster version, a PCI Express NVMe SSD. And you can also install a 2.5-inch hard drive or SSD by mounting the hard drive on the back side of this cover. We have Bluetooth 5 and wireless 802.11ax, which is the latest Wi-Fi 6 standard, and this solution is from Intel, which is nice. When I set up the unit, it came with Windows 10 installed and that all was activated, but I couldn't help myself. I wanted to do a clean Windows 10 installation, and that worked also without any issues. And the digital license was also activated automatically without any dramas. Do back up the driver folder. There was one device that Windows 10 couldn't detect by itself, and then you just point the device manager to the driver folder. So this machine has a Ryzen 5 3550H processor with 4 cores and 8 threads, which can run up to 3.7 GHz. This processor has an integrated Radeon Vega 8 graphics running at up to 1200 MHz. I installed Windows 10, all the latest updates, and then the latest drivers from AMD, and then I ran some benchmarks. In CPU set, we're getting 2311 for the multi-core and 427 for the single-core result. In Cinebench R15, 760. In Cinebench R20, 1703. Let's talk about power consumption, temperatures and noise. So doing nothing, this machine will consume only 7 watts. So that was pretty impressive to see. Running a benchmark or something more demanding, I saw the power meter showing around 54 watts, for example, running Cinebench R20. the fan speed can be configured in the BIOS. Out of the box, it will run at up to around 80 degrees with a fan speed of around 3000 RPM. So if you're doing any heavy work on this machine, you will definitely hear the fan. 3000 RPM is not quiet. But if you're just doing some basic tasks or watching a video file, then this machine is extremely quiet. So it depends on what you're doing. The more heavy the workload, the louder the fan. Let's talk about the graphics. The BIOS has an option to configure the video memory between auto 1 GB and 2 GB. I left it on the default setting, which is auto, and it will allocate 2 GB of memory to the video card. Let's run some benchmarks. In Night Raid, we're getting 7,175. In Skydiver, 6,636. And in Firestrike, 1,753. I also tested a few games. First up, we've got Shadow of the Tomb Raider, 1080p with the DirectX 12 API. And I had to use the lowest graphics details, and still it runs at just under 20 FPS. So we can straight away see that this is not a gaming machine. If you want to run games, you will likely have to run them at the lowest settings and lower resolutions as well. It's a real shame that this machine comes with single channel memory, so we don't get to see what it is actually capable of doing. Let's have a look at another game. We have Strange Brigade. This time I lowered the resolution to 720p. The details are at low, and here we're getting around 30 FPS. So if I would have to make a recommendation, I would say this is a 720p low detail gaming machine at most. So nothing to be excited about, but because it supports all the modern APIs, you will be able to run most games at least. And I also tested an older game. We have Dirt 3 here, running at 1080p first with ultra details. You're getting around 30 FPS. So even older games, you will have to lower the settings to get smooth performance, and to get it to run over 60 FPS with smooth motion, I had to use the ultra low details to get Dirt 3 to run smooth. And of course, I had to test Crysis, the most important game. It struggles around 20 FPS, and that's in the beginning of the game. So yeah, the conclusion is this is not a gaming machine. If you are interested in running games on such a mini PC, definitely get a RAM upgrade to get more performance with dual channel memory. But I'm reviewing what I have been given, so the conclusion is that this machine is really not for gaming. Where this machine really shines is as a media center PC. 4K 60 driving displays is not an issue. It will run even high resolution and high codec video files. YouTube 4K 60 is also not an issue. And it supports FreeSync. I tried a 1440p 144 Hz monitor, and that also worked without any issues. So guys, it's nice seeing AMD processors in these mini PCs, not always Intel, and the CPU performance is excellent. Using the machine just to browse the net and open programs, and even installing Windows 10 and all the applications and downloading games. That was a proper desktop experience. So in terms of CPU performance, I think you would be very happy. The video card is also the highlight. So you can get a similar machine like this with an Intel processor with similar CPU performance, but the Radeon graphics is the real highlight. Unfortunately, they decided to configure it with a single memory module, which to me makes no sense. So you have a mini PC with a really powerful video card, and then you constrain it with a single channel memory. So in my opinion, that was a really not a good decision. They should have gone with two 4 GB modules to get decent video performance. The other negative is definitely the fan noise. If you're doing anything that stresses the processor, the fan will run at around 3000 RPM. And that is definitely quite loud, and you will definitely hear it, especially if it's in a quiet room. I really like the range of ports. We're getting USB 3.1 Gen 2 as well as 3 outputs for 4K 60. So that is really nice to see. And I also appreciate the more modern Wi-Fi 6 wireless adapter. I don't have a wireless access point to test that yet, but in my house in the far end of my house is my computer lab, and I got really good a good signal, and I could transfer files without any interruptions. So guys, there you have it. That was the Minisforum Ryzen 5 mini PC, and yeah, it packs a punch. Unfortunately, the video performance is a letdown. Should have been configured with dual channel memory, even on the cheaper configuration, which this machine is. For gaming, I recommend you go with the 16GB option. That one has 2 8GB modules and will have better performance thanks to the dual channel configuration. Especially the video card, the video performance will see a nice performance boost. The fan speed is also a little bit of a negative, but I do like the range of ports, USB 3.1 Gen 2 and 3 4K 60 outputs, and fast wireless performance. That's also nice to see, as well as the easy access to upgrade the machine. So all in all, pretty happy with the performance. Now it's up to you. What do you think about this unit and the price and all the features? Let me know what you think. I will be using this unit for a while, so I can have a look and answer any questions if you're interested. And as always, if you found this video interesting, do subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Give it a like, leave a comment, share the video, and I shall see you soon with another one.